that's okay. We're doing it now.
Better late than never, right?
Right, right. So basically today, if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat as we go. But I figure we just kind of flow with it. And Paul, I just wanted you to kind of start out and tell us a little bit about you and your story. You've been in the industry for a while, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of successes, but you've also probably gone through a lot of failures too. So what's kind of kept you in this industry?
Let's see. So you want me to tell a little bit of my story and answer the question, or answer the, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
You can't throw too much at me. I'll get confused. Yeah. So my story, just real briefly, we could go really long on this. I was raised in Southeast Idaho in a single parent home. My dad left my family when I was 8 years old, and all growing up, fortunately, I had a wonderful mother who just set such a great example for me as far as, like, you know, loving me and my sister and providing a home where we always felt that, you know, there was love present, and she was my greatest cheerleader. Like, I remember, you know, baseball games and football games, like, I was the star of every single game, even though I really wasn't. But my mom, you know, she thought that I was. And so she'd always, you know, help me to build confidence. And so I'm really grateful for my mom for that. Also, all while growing up, we were poor. You know, my mom, she worked, when my dad left, my mom, a little bit more about my mom. She actually is hearing impaired. So when she was a little girl, she got scarlet fever. I think she was around 8 years old, and that took her hearing. And so when my dad left, my mom was jobless, hearing impaired, with my sister and I to support. And my dad didn't just leave. He left my mom with a house payment, with a car payment, in the car he drove off with. And so there was my mom, you know, left to take care of my sister and I. And my mom's a fighter. She's a champion. She just did what it took. You know, she went back to like a vocational school. She got a job so that she could provide for my sister and I, but she was working an hourly wage. And I just remember as a kid, always seeing my mom stressed out about money. I vividly remember, like, my mom sitting over the kitchen table with bills, you know, spread out across the counter, calculator out, head in her hand, you know, just stressed out about things. And I just, for whatever reason, from a young age, I just thought, you know, I want to see if I can make a different reality for my family when I grow up. I want to be able to have enough to take care of my family. And so that's kind of where I got started. But I did the traditional route in that I went to school, I got a good job. And actually, my first job out of college was for a network marketing company that actually did over $1 billion in sales last year. But I was an employee. So there I was, like, working in this cubicle, and I had access to all the back office, data. So there I was, like, making $11 an hour, and I'd log into all these different reps, you know, accounts. I'd be like, wow, you know, 40 grand a month. Wow, 20 grand a month. Wow, 10 grand a month. And these guys and gals don't even have to go to work, you know? So I kind of started to get exposed to, you know, how great that would be to not have to punch a clock, not have to, you know, go to a job every day while I was punching a clock, going to a job. And also, just these are, like, I'll share just another couple interesting stories from that time. I started to experience what I call the joys of corporate life, right? Has anyone experienced the joys of corporate life where you're, like, working at this job and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't all that it's cracked up to be? For example, I'll tell you one funny story that I love to tell. So I'm working at this job, and one of my best friends at this job, his name was Arnold, and he was from Burundi, Africa. His parents were diplomats in Africa, and they sent Arnold and his sister over to America, the land of opportunity. They wanted him to have a better life. And so Arnold's working this job with me, and we're like trying to figure out, like, how do you get ahead? You know, how do you increase your income? How do you move up the corporate ranks, the ladder, so to speak? And so Arnold, one day, he says, I'm going to set an appointment with my boss, and I'm going to find out just what does it take to advance in this company. So he sets an appointment with his boss. His boss's name was Doug. And Arnold was sitting in the cubicle behind me, and we were real good friends. And I remember the day came for Arnold to have a meeting with his boss, and he goes into this little cubicle, and there were glass windows so I could kind of see in. So I see Arnold sit down across from his boss, Doug. They spend some time talking, and then Arnold comes out of the office and he comes back over to the cubicle, and his eyes are just like wide, like, and his mouth, his jaw was like dropped to the floor, just like he was like in shock. and I said, Arnold, what happened? You know? And then he proceeds to tell me this story. He says, well, I went in and asked, Doug, the boss, like, how do I get ahead? And Doug says, Arnold, do you really want to know the secret as to how to get ahead in this environment? And Arnold's like, well, yeah, that's why I came to talk to you. And he goes, okay, here's what you do. He goes, number one, you got to get yourself some spandex racing shorts. Number two, you got to get yourself a Lance Armstrong book. And number three, you got to get a racing bike. And here's Arnold all the way from Africa, just totally bewildered. Like, what? This is how I get ahead in America? And right. Like, I don't understand. I'm confused. And so the boss says, stand up, Arnold. And he says, look over there. And they look across the floor. And he says, that guy's office over there, that's Jeff. He's the vice president of sales. And he likes spandex shorts, racing bikes, and Lance Armstrong. And he says, if you want to get ahead, that's what you got to do. And Arnold told me that story. And we were just, like, no, that is not how I want to get ahead in life. I want to get ahead based on my merit, based on my production. If I learn more, if I work more, if I produce more, if I serve more, that's how I want to get ahead. And so that got, I think, both of us thinking about, maybe getting in this network marketing thing. And in fact, Arnold was my very first invitation to a network marketing business. I remember we were still sitting in that office, and I joined this network marketing company, and I pulled him, over to the side, and I said, hey, Arnold, if I could show you a way to make $40,000 a month by helping people eliminate all their debt and save hundreds of thousands of dollars, would you want me to tell you about it or keep it a secret? And Arnold's like, of course, tell me about it. So I recruited Arnold into my first network marketing business, and that's kind of how I got started. And in that first year, Arnold was actually, I mentioned we went door to door. Arnold, I talked to going door to door with me for this first network marketing business. We did everything. We made lists, we went door to door, we did presentations. And after that first year, I had made a big fat $0 in that company, a whole year. And it wasn't for lack of trying. I mean, I was making phone calls. We were getting stacks of business cards. We were doing fish bowls in restaurants, getting these cards and calling these names and numbers. And after that, a whole year, $0 in income. But that's where I will tell you one thing that happened in that first network marketing company is they had a recommended reading list. And on that at that point, so I graduated college, I'm working at this job, and I figure, this is how you have success in life. You go to school, you get a good job, and that's it, And so I was just doing that thing. And in this network marketing company, they had this recommended reading list, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, Psycho-Cybernetics, As a Man Thinketh, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And so in that first year, while I was quote unquote failing, I started to read and open my mind and realize that there were other ways of, living and showing up in the world. Of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you're probably all familiar with that book. I remember reading that book in my single wide trailer house, where he talks about the cash flow quadrants. And I was like, holy cow, I didn't even know there was another way. I had no idea. And I thought, pipeline money, that has got to be the most attractive idea I've ever heard in my life. Like this pipeline that dumps money in over and over and over for work that I did once. And I guess I said, I got to have that. No matter what I have to do, I've got to figure out how to set that up, for my family. And so I stayed in the game and I stayed persistent. I joined, after that first company, 13 other companies, believe it or not, 13 other companies. And still all of that led me to a spot back in 2009 where I was living in a single wide trailer house. I was still working the job, but I said to my wife, I said, we actually, the last company that I was in, we started to have some success. We built a downline, I think, of about 600 or so people in my local area. My monthly check was $1,200, $1,300 a month. So we started to see a little bit of success. And I said to my wife, I said, maybe we're not really just blowing it up. Maybe the reason is because I got this dang job and it's taken 40 hours a week. So I said, we have some savings. We're making some money in our network marketing company. Things are improving. what would you think about me quitting the job and just doing this full time? So she said, my wife, Kareen, she said, honey, I trust you. Let's do it. So I was so scared to quit my job, but I wanted to be free so bad that I worked myself up and I said, this is worth taking a risk. So I quit the job. I went full time. And then here's what happened over the next 5 months. My income in that network marketing company went from $1,200 a month down to about $300 a month. And this is from going part-time to full-time. I rented an office in my local community. I was going to work every day like I had a job, and I was calling, I was doing everything that I could, and my income went down. And I'm like, what on earth is happening? And then right around that time frame, my wife, and I'm going to pay attention to the time. I don't want to be too long here.
That's right.
But my wife, we had our third son, and I was actually working in my home office one day, brown panel walls in this trailer house. My wife takes him to his checkup, his 2-week checkup. She comes home, puts him in the bassinet, and then I get up and walk out in the living room to meet her in the living room, and she's in tears. And I say, what's going on? What's wrong? And she proceeds to tell me that our third son had a condition called craniosynostosis, which meant the bones in his head were fused together, and he was going to have a $50,000 surgery down at Primary Children's Hospital. Mm. And I'm living in a trailer. My network marketing income is going down. I have no job. We're living on savings. And then I get that news. And I remember the day. I remember it so vividly. I hugged her and I said, honey, everything's going to be okay. But I did not know that everything was going to be okay. But man, I had to figure something out. And then right around that time frame, I remember I was in the back room of this single wide trailer house, and I was putting our 2 oldest boys to bed one night. We had this bunk bed in the back room, and the 2 little guys were sleeping on the bottom bunk because the top bunk we were using for storage. I don't know if anyone's ever lived in a trailer house, but there's not a lot of room. So, we had this room packed up. But anyway, I was reading my 2 boys their bedtime stories. They drifted off to sleep. My wife was at another spot in the house, and there I am as a dad just looking down at these 2 little kids and realizing that I'm literally failing as a provider. It's not working. And the only thing that I could think to do at the time, which was, oh, am I muted? It says I'm muted.
Nope. I was trying to mute someone. There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll finish this up here quick, but I knelt down and I offered a prayer, and I said, I'm at my wit's end. I'm humble. Everything I've tried to do, it's not working. Please, I just want to provide for my family. I didn't necessarily, by that point, I didn't want to be rich. I didn't want to be making, millions of dollars. I just wanted an income to take care of my family because I felt my family deserved me to be able to take care of them. So I offered this prayer, and I remember distinctly a couple of things coming into my consciousness at that time. One was I got this impression that I needed to begin a serious study of the book Think and Grow Rich, which I had read before because by this time I'd been in network marketing 4 or 5 years, and it was on the list, and I'd read the book. But usually what I would do when I would read that book is I would read, like most of the books that I'd read, I'd underline, I'd get done, I'd be like, wow, that was awesome. My mind would be a little expanded, but then I'd throw the book on the shelf, and then I'd start the next one. But for whatever reason, in that moment of need, I realized that was a book that I needed to not just study, but to actually, understand and apply. So I got that impression. And one of the things that I started doing based on the book is, you're all familiar, I'm sure, but he says, have your definite purpose and self-confidence formula. And then every day, speak that vision, out loud. And so I was so humble and I needed something to happen. I said, I'm going to follow this book to the letter. And so there I was every night outside my single wide trailer house, walking up and down my driveway beneath the Idaho stars, saying, by the last day of December 2009, I will have in my possession $3,000 monthly income. And I would go through and I memorized it. And every night I would be stating that, out loud, just visualizing that money, coming into my life. And after about 3 or 4 weeks of doing that, I started to notice a change come over me. And the change was I went from a state of hoping, wishing, praying that it was going to work. That's how I was, like all through my network marketing journey. It was all, please let this work. I hope it works. I went from that to this state where I knew it was going to work. I knew that the money that I needed to get for my family was already in existence out there in other people's bank accounts. And all I had to do was perform the service necessary to get that money from them to me, you know? And I, that's one of my favorite quotes from Jim Rohn is he said, some people say, he said, you could say faith is not real because you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it. But he said that would be like saying radiation is not real. He says, we know radiation is real because it has an effect, and it's the same with faith. And so that was a big transformation for me. That, you know, we talk about mindset, you know, a lot in home business. And really, that's what mindset is all about, like getting to a state where you have faith, you know it's going to work, and you show up in your business accordingly. And something happens when you just have faith, like your prospects feel it, your team members feel it, like everybody feels it, like you know that you're on a good path. And so there was that thing that happened. I would say that was my first big breakthrough. Is I started to develop faith based on the principles that were in that book and the practicing of those principles. And then the second thing that happened was right around that time frame, I discovered that there were other ways to build my business, that I could use the internet and marketing to generate leads, and I could connect. I could have people who, like my ideal prospects, the people that I wanted to work with, the people that vibed with my vibe, and likewise, I vibed with their vibe. Like through marketing, I could connect with those people, and so I started to generate leads. So I've got the faith happening on the one side, and then I've got the marketing and the lead generation happening on the other side, and then I'm learning to kind of like wrap it all together. And in fact, that one of my good friends, he's a top earner in the network marketing profession. We call him Todd Nuclear Young. Kind of funny. Nuclear is his middle name. You know, we talk about white hot burning desire and think and grow rich. And so we call Todd Nuclear Todd. But he gave me a formula one time, and he said, here's the formula for success: mindset plus skill set times performance equals results. Mindset plus skill set times performance equals results. And over the years, I've thought about that formula from a network marketing perspective, from an internet marketing perspective, from a sports perspective. Think about anything you can do and be successful. Usually, the people who are successful, they have the mindset to believe that they're going to make it happen. They believe in themselves. They're following maybe certain laws of success. And they have skills, right? What do they say? The skills pay the bills, right? I love that quote. The skills pay the bills. So they've got the mindset, they've got the skills, and they're taking action on that. They're performing. There's another great quote: God cannot guide an anchored ship. Sometimes we find ourselves knowing things and not doing them, right? And actually, here's one other little metaphor for this success formula that I really like. It's like you're riding a bicycle. And let's say, you know, wherever you're at now is where you're at, and your dream life, your goals is over there, and the vehicle you have to get from here to there is a bicycle. And that bicycle, the left pedal is mindset, the right pedal is skill set, and you have to get on the bike and ride from here to there, right? And so that's just a cool little metaphor, you know, that helps me to remember this formula. But anyway, long story short, what happened, or long story long maybe, since we're 30 minutes in, what happened in that moment when I was having those changes is about 3 or 4 months after I was diligently practicing, studying mindset, and then also doing marketing and generating leads and connecting and giving invitations. I remember one day I got a check in the mail, and at the time I was marketing really two things. I was marketing my network marketing company, which was Liquid Vitamin. Funny enough, we still have a couple boxes of the Liquid Vitamins under our bathroom sink. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but so we were selling this Liquid Vitamin, and I was also marketing a training platform, a lead gen platform, you know, something that I could share with people who might not be open to joining me in business. And I remember I got a check in the mail from the lead gen, and my vision was $3,000 a month. That's all I needed at the time, just $3,000 a month. So every night when I'm under the stars, I'm visualizing $3,000 a month. So this check shows up in the mail from the system, and it's $1,500. And I'm like, wow, that's half of my 3,000. I'm so excited about that. And then I remember logging into my network marketing company, checking my back office, and the check was $1,498. And I was like, wait a minute, that's $2 short. And I was looking at it, and my payout was $3,000, but they had a $2 check processing fee. So literally down to the penny, that which I'd been seeing in my mind, like showed up in my life. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be joking me. Like, this stuff, I mean, does this really happen in real life? But it did. And that was really like, my main breakthrough. And then, of course, since then, as you mentioned, Hannah, in the introduction, I've been, have been blessed to have a lot more success after that. Also have had a lot more setbacks after that. Companies have come, companies have gone, incomes have gone up, incomes have gone down. But after it all, here I am still in this game. And then I guess that leads us to that question you asked, is what has kept you in? And that is, I think this is the best way to answer that question. I love here's what I think we do in network marketing and direct sales is we have the opportunity to show people a door to a whole new future, a better future, a future filled with possibility and abundance and, more happiness and more wisdom and more enlightenment and more, being out of debt. You name it, right? Whatever you name is on the other side of that door. And there's so many people out there in the world that are stuck. They're stuck in a job they don't like. They're stuck in these, cycles of, doubting themselves and not being happy and depression and all this kind of stuff. And we get to be the ones to ask if they're open to looking at that door. And I don't know any other business in the world like that, right? Like, I think that's what we do. We're like, hey, here's a door to a better future. Would you like to walk through it? And then that gets them on this whole path where not just their bank accounts can change, but everything can change. Their relationships, their communication, everything in a person's life can change if they'll get on this path and be coachable and stay on this path. And I just love that. So I guess that's why I'm still here.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I just think that this industry, and you call yourself a freedom crusader, and like my values totally in line with that. I was like, yes, it's about, creating that freedom so people can have more time with their family, in their community, whatever they want to do, And so, I learned this principle a long time ago, and it's, kind of attraction marketing. And I know it's kind of what you guys talk about a lot too, and it's about providing value to people, getting them that transformation, and then that equals reciprocity, which is cha-ching dollar signs, basically money in your bank account. Would you say you started using those principles when you had that change in income?
Yes, and here's how I would put it is part of being an attraction marketer, I guess. And by the way, like, people mystify this on the internet all the time. They're like, oh, you need to just be an attraction marketer and magically people will come running to you. And yeah, that can happen. But really what's really happening is, I think it's the same thing that happens when a physician with a lot of influence in a community joins a network marketing company and then they just blow it up. And everyone's like, wait a minute, what happened? How did they build such a fast team? Well, it's because they had influence. They had been serving people. They'd been providing value to people. And so everyone in the community, when that type of a person joins, they're just attracted to it, right? Because that person had been a solutions provider for so many people. So attraction marketing, in my mind, what is it? It's being a solutions provider. It's making the transition from I'm a salesperson. Dan Kennedy would say, going from I'm an annoying pest to becoming a welcome guest, right? So in sales, you can be an annoying pest. You can really bug the heck out of people and cause them to run away, or you can be a welcome guest. And, one of the things we can do to be a welcome guest is to just be a solutions provider, sharing value, solving problems, helping people know that, hey, my number one goal in life, Hannah, is not to get you in my business. My goal is to help you get from where you're at right now to where you want to be. And maybe that'll include my business. Maybe that'll include my products. But if it doesn't, you know what? I'm still here to help you. I still want to be a resource for you. And so, yeah, that was a major shift for me back then.
Awesome. Awesome. So if someone coming in brand new, I guess if you were brand new in network marketing business, what would you do? How would you do things differently?
So how would I do things differently? Number one is I would still launch my business.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, this is where I might differ from some of the people on the internet that say, hey, you should just go build a lead capture page and drive mass amounts of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, all of that is great, but there is such a principle as milk before meat, like the Bible says, milk before meat. And
Mm-hmm.
so you will learn so much in launching a business that will then help you when you make the transition to some of the more advanced marketing strategies. I still remember some of my first invitations, calling people, inviting them to hotel meetings, hey, Joanne, this may or may not be a fit for you, but I ran across a project that looks pretty lucrative. I'm pretty excited about it. We're up here in Idaho Falls having a meeting. Would you be able to come? And people would come to the meeting. I can't believe, how did I get people to drive 30 miles to come to a meeting? And Tammy does it, I'm sure, others who are doing that. But they do when you use good principles in your invitations. And so I would say what I would do the same is I would still launch my business. I would still figure out, because it's like, okay, how do you go from where you're at now to where you want to be? You can only start with the resources you have right now. That's the only thing you can do. And so I would still say to myself, okay, who can I connect with to invite to look at what I'm doing? And that's called launching my business. And I would still do that first. Now, how might it be different now in 2019? Well, now all my contacts are connected to me on Facebook, really. So back in the day, I'm writing them all down. I've got stacks of papers, Now they're all on Facebook. So I would still launch, and I would do it in a way that's attractive, that's low pressure, that doesn't make anybody not like me, doesn't make anyone not run away with me. I would do it in a way that not only does it not hurt relationships, but it actually nurtures them. If you do it right, you can invite people to look at things in a way that builds the relationship. And that's what I would do. I would still do that the same. And I would probably, if I was brand new, I would put my blinders on and I would focus on getting that done first before I did anything. I would just get it done because you can get it out of the way. It doesn't have to take years to get through, your initial launch. And then aside from that, or after that, I would also be learning marketing. I'd be asking myself this question. Okay, once I connect and invite all the people that I want to connect and invite, what then? Because that's the problem we all face, right? What then? How am I going to then solve that problem? And I think marketing is a great way, to solve that problem. Learn some marketing, learn some lead generation, learn some capture pages, learn a little bit of traffic. So that you can solve that problem for yourself.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I feel like sometimes that's where network marketers stop, is they keep hounding friends and family or keep posting products and things of that nature. But it's advancing that skill. And that's what I love that you guys put together. So why don't you tell me a little bit about why you guys launched Home Business Academy, what it helped, and how it helps network marketers improve that marketing skill after they launch.
Yeah, thank you for that. The reason, okay, so one of the things that I noticed in my journey is that, what do they say about systems? Systems should do all the training, save yourself time, energy, and money, something like that, right? Systems. And so all throughout, while I was building my teams, one of my greatest desires, in addition to finding success for myself, was to try to teach others the things that were making the difference for me. And so I noticed that as we were building teams, we were always having training systems in place where we could send people to watch, learn how to do an effective invitation, learn how to follow up in the right way, learn some of this lead generation that we're talking about. So all while I was, having a lot of success in network marketing, we were building things like this. So I recognized that there was a need in place for that. And then one of the things that's happened to me over my career in network marketing, it doesn't happen to everyone. There's a lot of really great companies out there. But one of the things that happened to me was, I'll just share a little bit more my story that I didn't share earlier, is that after I made that first $3,000 a month, I remember I was driving to Salt Lake City to get on a plane to go to an event, and a company owner does a conference call, and he's like, hey guys, you know this thing we promised you, last month, where if you worked really hard and you made the executive vice president position and you'd have triple the residual for life? And I'm like, yeah, that really helped me to achieve my goal. Thank you. And he says, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. Have a nice day. Hope to see you at the next event. And with one phone call, my income was cut by 2/3. And I was like, wow, that was not really that great. Right. But you keep on, right? So then the next company I joined, we were selling a nutritional product. And things were exploding, like downline growing, 10,000, 20, 50, 100,000 in volume. My check going up, 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 up. This is my first 6-figure income. We're telling people, this is the one. We finally got it. This is the one. And one day the company owner gets on a conference call and he says, hey guys, we're not growing as fast as we want to. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to launch a sister company. Now, we're in a nutrition company now. This sister company is going to be selling a fuel additive, and we're going to have 2 companies that everyone can join both companies. We're going to have 2 comp plans. Everyone can be in both comp plans, and it's going to be awesome. And what happened after that phone call is everyone got confused. I watched in horror as my exploding volume screeched to a halt and then started going backwards and down and down. And I remember being on a conference call one time with my team, literally in tears, because the thing that I had promised them was now dying. And so that happened. And then I joined another company. And this next company, blessed to say, I made over $500,000 in. Very grateful for my business partner, my current business partner and I. We were on the leadership council. And funny enough, same thing. We're going to launch a sister company. And at this time, we were making really good money. And the company owner says, we're going to launch a sister company. And then in addition to that, they started doing things that were really, from my value standpoint, really not good for people. They were selling things just to sell them, not fulfilling their promises, literally like hurting people. And this was happening all right in front of our eyes. And so my business partner and I said, we can either keep riding this horse, we're making money, or we can stop because it's out of alignment with our values. And so we flew to a company event. We met with the owner. We gave him hugs. We said, we're grateful for everything you've done for us up to this point, but we can't continue with this. And so at that point, my partner and I were faced with a decision, and that was, okay, do we find another company to join, which of course there are a lot of great companies, or do we try to create something that will help us in anything we decide to build, but then also provide a little bit of a hedge in case this thing that has happened over and over and over happens again. And so we said, we always want to have a training system in place for people. In addition to that, we also want to help people have something they can offer that's not just their company, because that's another way you can become a solutions provider. Is if you've only got one thing to sell, then that's really the only monetized solution you have for people. So you don't really have, many options. But if you're targeting people in a home business, which I think is a great way to build a business, build networks, build lists of people who are in it, they love it, they want residual income. Like, these are our people, So if you're connecting with people like that, there will be a percentage of those folks, especially if you've got something good. If you've got a company that maybe has a little unique spin on something, maybe you've got a better retention rate, whatever it is. If you've got a company like that, then you can really convert a lot of those, but not all of them. But what do all of the rest of them want, or at least a lot of them? Well, they want to be successful. They want to learn maybe some lead gen. They want to learn some success. They want to learn how to be successful. And so if you've got something that you can offer those folks, now, you can shore yourself up financially while you're doing your normal business building activities, and you can grow your income. And that's another little benefit that I stumbled onto back in 2009 is network marketing is amazing for building big leveraged income. It's amazing for impacting a lot of people. And then you've got this other thing called affiliate marketing. And affiliate marketing is really great for earning some fast now money based on your own personal production. Whereas network marketing, it takes a little bit of time, to build up. But when you do it, it is so worth it because,
Yes.
you've got depth and residuals and it's very solid income. So that is worth doing. And it can take a little time in the beginning. Whereas if you're building a network marketing company and you have some sort of product that you can share that helps people that's not multi-level, then you can add some faster commissions into your onto your journey. That back in my story, I said 1,500 was coming from my network marketing company, 1,500 was coming from my system. That was literally an answer to prayer, to be able to have those two income streams, and they allowed me to hit my $3,000 goal faster than I would have if I was only relying on my network marketing income stream. And so my partner and I, Mike and I, we said, hey, not only that, so all of this. And we also saw a lot of things happening in the market that we didn't really resonate with. We don't resonate with the hype. We don't resonate with promising people the sun, the moon, the stars, and then not even being able to deliver the dirt on the ground. We didn't resonate with that. From an internet marketing perspective, one of the downsides of internet marketing is they'll be like, hey, network marketers are a great market to target, so you should target them and sell them a bunch of stuff. And so literally you have people out there who are targeting network marketers not with the goal of actually helping them reach their goals, but with the goal of selling them something. And so they sell them something, and then they'd get into these systems, and then after they buy something, there's all this oh, wait, this week we got a new product to sell you. Oh, and this week there's a new strategy to do. And and this week. And then you've got this person who just wants to build, they just want to achieve their goal. And they're so distracted and confused because all this different stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So we said, one of our favorite quotes is be the change you wish to see in the world. And we thought, maybe we can create something that can really serve people and help people in the ways that we would like to be served and helped. And so that's why we created the Academy.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I love how you have it, what I found is that, if you hang out with chickens, you're going to be a chicken. And if you hang out with the eagles, you're going to soar, right? Yeah. And so it's just not a training platform where you get in there, but it's more as also a community, a mastermind, an accountability, and maybe speak a little bit about that as far as why you have all those other components too, because I know that there's systems out there, and I've paid for them, that are thousands of dollars just for the training that you guys have in there. Yeah. But you guys have offered so much more.
Well, everything we do, you mentioned the Freedom Crusaders, right? So this tree, our vision is freedom through principle-centered leadership. And what does that mean? That's kind of vague. What it means for Hannah is we want to help Hannah build the residual income that she wants so that she can be free. So the vision is a little bit different for everybody. Okay, well, where's Tanya at? What does she need next? Where's Kelly at? Where's Toby at? What do they need next? Because everyone's a little bit different, right? Yep. But our vision at the end of the day is to help people build lives of freedom and do it in a principle-centered way. That's our vision. So everything we do is in light of that. So for example, we do, as you mentioned, we do coaching and accountability. That's really great because, as we mentioned earlier, one of the things that's easy to do is to know something and then not do it. But we found that what we'll call it, you've heard of PDAs, public displays of affection, and too much PDA. But then there's public displays of accountability, which is when you commit to another human being that you're going to do something, that's pretty powerful. Mm-hmm. For me, that's a big motivator. And so we find that if we can create an environment where people can, make commitments, promises, if you will, this week I want to grow my business. So I promise this week, here's what I'm going to do. And then we can follow up and report. And then the other thing that's cool with the accountability is because everyone's on a different journey, we get to kind of dig in and find out okay, well, where's Connie at? What did you do this week? How did it go? What did you learn? Is there anything we can help you with there? which is, that's hard to do. Like when you're just speaking to hundreds of people and you're saying, let me just teach you the formula. Here's how it is, you know? So that's good. But then the other thing is, you know, with the income side of what we do, we want to build a stable income for those who are promoting from the affiliate side. And so, you know, I look at like, okay, how do successful communities band together and stay together and help each other? And that's really important because the freedom journey, at least my experience has been, it's not a fast one. Like it takes time. It literally is a journey. My first year, I mentioned, made no money. Next few years, very little money. What if I'd have quit? You know, so if we can create a community where people can feel like they belong, they can trust, they can learn, they can be supported with shared values, shared vision, shared beliefs, then not only are we solidifying income, because that's one thing we want to do. We want to solidify income, but alongside of that, we really want to create a space where people can start out as an acorn and have the time necessary to grow into the oak tree, you know? And so all of that, in my mind, requires a different way to look at things other than just, let's just make a sale, you know? Let's just make a sale. Like there's really a lot more that we can all do to create a space that, you know, will help everyone get to where they want to go. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know for me, like, you know, I got into my personal network marketing business and I just made the decision. I left my job, and I don't recommend this to people typically because there's ups and downs in your business, but I left my job and I said, okay, I'm doing this. And I built it really, really fast, which was cool. You know, and within 90 days, I think I recruited a total of 100 people stuck. It was awesome, you know, good money, right? But what I'm finding like long term is that, you know, I've been able to also now incorporate providing value, because my whole goal is to help network marketers grow their business, because you see so many people struggling. I asked last week just in a question, I said, what is your biggest number one skill that you want to learn, or your biggest challenge? And everybody says the same thing, you know, learning how to market my business, you know. And so learning these skills and these values to market your business, but now also because you're learning, you're testing it out, you're getting the skills, and now you're teaching those people, you can make an income from that. And my personal results is I've doubled my residual income just by incorporating the affiliate, which is huge, right?
That's awesome.
So yeah, and so that's the opportunity, so people can get there a little bit faster, you know, and then also, but still continue to grow your business. So, which is totally cool. So I guess if someone was brand new coming into this, what would you say, just a couple little tips as far as their daily method of operation? What would you recommend that, okay, they're brand new, what do you want to do to get this launched, and how do you want to see yourself build up into that oak tree?
Good question. We're getting a little bit of noise. I don't know if you can maybe mute that line. So I mentioned launching your business. And yep. So I think that would be an important part. And let me maybe share a couple tips that have worked really well for me on that. I have this 4-step invitation that works well for people that you already have some sort of a relationship with. So these are people that you would send an invite to, and they're not going to be like, well, who's Paul and why is he sending me this, right? These are people that you've got some sort of connection. So the 4-step invite is, you express goodwill, you remove pressure, you arouse curiosity, and then you deliver the invitation. And you can do this in a Facebook audio. So you could record a little audio. That's kind of fun. Sometimes you get some energy and, you know, feeling in it. But it also works in typing. Like you could type it out and customize it a little bit for people. But let me give you an example of what that would be like. So if I was going to invite Hannah, I would say, hey, Hannah, this is Paul. Hope you're having a great day, right? Express goodwill. Hey, this may be kind of a long shot, but I ran across something that I'm kind of excited about. It looks like it could be pretty lucrative, right? Arouse curiosity. And then I said it might be kind of a long shot. You're removing pressure. And then you deliver the invitation. Hey, I was just wondering if you might be open to taking a peek at it to see if it maybe could be a fit for you or someone you might know. If so, let me know. I'd love to send you a short video. And if not, hey, Hannah, please message me back and let me know how you're doing and what you've been up to. I want to stay connected and hear what's going on in your life.
Mhm.
Boom. And then you send that message off. And what that does is it will start getting you, yes, I'm open. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm open. No, I'm not. Like real quick.
Yep.
And then you can start getting videos out. And then the other thing that it does is it nurtures the relationship with everybody you invite. Because if they feel that you actually care about them, aside from inviting them to look at something, then you're going to have a good relationship. And then also, they tell you what they're up to. Find out about people, because one of the things that I've noticed, and you hear this all the time in network marketing, it's absolutely true. Timing is a huge piece of whether someone may or may not be open to something.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? To me, that means if I'm building good relationships along the way where people have a good feeling about me and I have a good feeling about them, then I can loop back around 3 months down the road and do this whole process over again, which I'm actually doing right now because we actually launched a product that's different. So I'm going back through my friends list and I'm just doing the same thing. People I've already invited to look before, but because hopefully I have a little bit of a good relationship, I can re-invite. So that would be my number one thing. And then the other thing that I would do if I was new is I would get in the habit of creating content daily. And don't overcomplicate this. This can be as simple as there's this great app. It's called WordSwag, where you can create these cool like quote images. And just get in the habit of every day as you're going through your personal development, which I think is a non-negotiable. Every day, got to be reading something, got to be listening to something. Pick one little nugget, put it in a quote, post it on Facebook. That would be another great thing to do.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So any questions that we didn't cover that you guys were hoping to learn today, go ahead and put in the chat box really quick. Let's see here. Connie, she wanted to, I guess, explain the process of what is affiliate marketing. She didn't quite understand that term and how we can use that to grow our business. So, Paul, if you just want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, sure. So affiliate marketing typically is a product or a service that you can share with someone and generate a commission from. Like network marketing, except that typically with affiliate marketing, you get paid a higher commission, but it's only one level. And so how could you use that to grow your business? So let's say I know Sherry. Good to see you, Sherry. I see her in the Facebook group a lot. So, but let's say Sherry's building a network marketing business. Well, there are useful tools. There are useful trainings. There are products and services. There are also all of those things that are not useful. So some things are not useful, but there are things that can be really helpful to Sherry on her journey. So if I'm an affiliate, then I become, authorized to say, hey, Sherry, I know you're building this network marketing business. Do you have an autoresponder? In fact, just this morning, I was talking to a gentleman, Booker, down in Texas. He is following up with all of his prospects literally by hand. So he gets the leads coming in, which is good. It's good. He does not have all of these prospects on an email list that he can then send emails to, because some people you're going to connect with on the phone, some you won't. They'll just kind of get lost in the shuffle. But how cool is it to have all of those people that are getting lost in the shuffle at least getting emails from you? Getting redirected to the presentation, getting value, building a relationship. And I'll give you a real life example of this. So just this last week, a gentleman named Daniel joined me in the Home Business Academy. Daniel was in my network marketing company in 2011. He's on my email list. So for the last 8 years, he's been getting emails from me. And last week, he said, hey, I like this Home Business Academy thing. I'm going to join. Now, if I was relying on following up manually with Daniel, that sale never would have happened because he's like out of sight, out of mind. So many people come into your business, but fortunately, he's on my email list because I have an autoresponder. So I could say, hey, Sherry, do you have an autoresponder? No, I sure don't. Gosh, well, here's why you might want to consider one. Sherry signs up through my autoresponder link. Now I'm earning $5 a month residual, whether Sherry joins my business or not. That's affiliate marketing. Hope that made sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Tanya said to kind of provide an example of how you offer value, but you just kind of hope you just really did that. And another way is I ask a lot of questions in groups. And I don't know if you do this too, Paul, or other people, but I ask, questions like, what's your number one challenge? What's your number one struggle? And what I found is that the stuff that I'm learning in the Home Business Academy has allowed me to provide people that answer to their challenge. And that's another way to do your self-development, your mindset, your skill, that kind of thing. And then also then get into providing them value. And then you can either offer them HBA, which is a great resource, or offer them, another opportunity depending on where they're at. So cool. So any other questions? No? Okay. So we talked a little bit about the autoresponder and the community and Home Business Academy. And I'll just have to say from personal experience, I've been with them about 30 days now, and I just absolutely love this. And that's why I wanted to kind of share this with you as far as a way to grow your business. I think Cherie's definitely enjoyed it. She's in the community, Toby, Tammy, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is, if you want to see if this is something for you, we've got some bonuses that just kind of come with the community. But if you want to learn how to build that list so you can follow up with people easier, and you want to be able to get those extra big commissions. And this is one thing that I love, Paul, is that your commissions aren't like $5 here, $10 here, like most affiliate products is, right? It's $100 a month. That can make a huge change. I mean, you have 10 people, that's, helping 10 people a month, that's an extra $1,000. And I'm just like, wow, this is awesome. So applaud for that. That's so huge.
Just a little note on that. When we started the company, we said, what is the absolute most we can pay and not go out of business? Like, that was literally the question, because we are you and you are us, like the vision, like how can we help people win? How can we help, how can we do it? And so, yeah, that's definitely one way is, we can pay people as much as we can. And at the end of the day, like those of us who have been in sales, which is everyone here, you have such an affinity for how the people who create the sales are the people who bring the value to the company. Like, they're the ones out there doing the work, and it's not easy, right? Like, it can be challenging, and you've got to really have grit and tenacity to stay in there. And so, that's another one of our founding values is the golden rule: equality, simplicity, and the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And it's like, well, we would like to be paid well, so let's do it.
Yeah. That's awesome. So if you want to learn how this process goes, and what we can do is we can offer you $1 trial, so you can actually get in there, check out the community, mingle with the people, see what the training's all about. But I highly recommend, just plugging in, checking it out, because I know personally for me that my mind was blown when I saw this, and I checked into multiple other affiliate product type stuff. So this is awesome. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah, for being such a great leader. It's so fun. I just like connecting with people who really get what we're trying to do. Like, you really get it. Like, you see it. You're like, wow, this is like this is the best hour of my entire day. So thank you. Thank you for being so awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again, Paul, for your time. I know you're a very busy man between the family and running a couple companies and things of that nature. So definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys for being on today. If you have any questions, hit me up personally. I'm there to help. And I also sent you guys the 6-figure cheat sheet, so you guys at least have a ramp up. You know what to do. And if you want that link for the $1 trial to check things out, definitely reach out, and I'll be happy to share that with you. Thanks, guys, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Appreciate y'all.